Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, everyone's having an awesome day. I'm kind of having an awesome day, kind of. Unfortunately, the terrorist group known as the United Front of Fleas, it's still strong at my house. Unfortunately, hopefully, within a couple weeks, I could reduce their numbers. But that's not why you clicked onto this video. You clicked on this because I had a interesting title called Gun Grabbers Won. And they did win. This is a humongous win for all gun grabbers. And guns are now being tracked. And it's a terrible news for everyone. And this is what I'm talking about. Credit card companies to track gun store purchases. So this is the way to track guns without legally tracking guns. There's going to be, I'll get with the story. So credit cards buckled to a lot of these groups that have pension funds within their company, because if they're using their leverage, they're using the large number of shares against the credit card companies. And to be honest, it's a very ingenious method. Don't get me wrong. I understand the battle tactic, and I do get it. I understand why they're doing it. But this is going to be a terrible thing moving forward. And I hopefully, the credit card companies have a competitor come up with and saying, we're not going to require this. Because this is really bad news. Credit card giants, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, are taking steps to better track firearm sales in the move hailed by gun control proponents. Why it matters. Payment processors have been under pressure to help monitor gun purchases amid concerns over mass shooting and other violence. Instead of addressing the issue, they're going to make sure that people that buy guns with credit cards can be easily identified. Because before it was under a generic term of outdoor sports and outdoors. What's happened? A panel of International Organization for Standardization voted to approve the creation of a merchant category called MCC for gun retailer, and the credit card companies are adopting the change. This means that gun stores will no longer be categorized, for example, specialty retailers, or potentially making it easier to track firearm spending. If you want to know who's buying guns, they're using the credit card. If you want to buy ammo online, you know where, who is buying it and from where. Supporters hailed the development in a critical step towards undermining the flow of guns into the hands of violent people. Well, here's the thing: is anybody can be violent people. Anybody. You can have a homeless person hopped off on drugs, beating people up with a lead pipe. And you could have the loner kid, depressed, hates life, picks up his mother or father's gun and go shoot up a school. So it really doesn't really matter in the end, except we're going to be tracked. People who buy guns, people who buy ammo using credit cards will be tracked. And it's a really big deal, because if you can be tracked, then you know who to raid next. Until this decision, gun and ammunition stores did not have a unique merchant category code. Mahawatarna, Chief Public Affairs Officer of Everytown for Gun Safety, said on Twitter, now banks and credit card companies can more easily report dangerous and potential illegal gun purchases to the law enforcement. Well, guess what? Potentially illegal gun purchases. All guns done at a gun store are legal. They go get a background check. They pass a background check. Then they're able to purchase said gun. I don't know what this illegal gun purchases is. And if you're buying it on the black market, you're not going to be dumb enough to use your credit card, because that requires also tracking, and most criminals do not want to be tracked. Most of them have 3 brain cells to know cash only in cash, and never on paper. But the manner in which the code is used may determine whether or not it's effective in blowstring monitoring efforts goes too far or doesn't go far enough. For example, it's currently unclear whether retailers who also sell other products will be forced to use the same merchant code when processing firearm purchases. I mean, you got Academy. They have a sports equipment. Does that mean that every basketball or every shoe that they buy or sell have to use this same category, or is it just for the firearm? And what if you're buying multiple items? You have to make separate purchases? How's that going to work? We now turn our focus onto how it will be implemented by merchants and their banks, as we'll continue to support lawful purchases on our network while protecting the privacy and the decisions of individual cardholders, MasterCard said in a statement. I call BS. You could just not do it. But I get it. People have their pension funds tied up in these credit cards, and they use the bully pulpit of their share, the numbers of shares that these pensions have against these companies. This is exactly how we would manage the process for any appropriate MCC, like the bicycle shop or sporting goods store. The other side, opponents warn that the move sets a dangerous precedent, potentially opening the door for additional tracking of other type of transactions. I don't know, like condoms, Plan B, STD medicine. Some executives in private discussions have flagged concerns that it could lead to a creation of more codes that could be used to crack down on controversial businesses such as abortion providers. The Wall Street Journal reported the code creation is flawed on its premises. Mark Avia, spokesperson for the National Shooting Sports Foundation, said in an email to Axios, he says it chills a free exercise of constitutional protection rights and does nothing to assist law enforcement with crime prevention or holding the criminals accountable. The big question, how will credit card companies, which are steeped in fraud detection, determine whether a purchase from a gun store is suspicious? The code will show where an individual spends money, but not what items were purchased, Reuters reported. The Aura movie theater shooter used the MasterCard to purchase $11,000 worth of weapons and military gear in 6 weeks leading up to the shooting, including from a standalone gun store. And the Pole shooter who killed 49 people also used MasterCard to purchase more than $26,000 in firearms and ammunition. The New York comptroller Brad Landers said Monday at a press conference, the bottom line, financial companies are getting more proactive in effort to show that they're not ignoring fears about guns. I don't think there should be a fear about guns. I think you should have a healthy respect for them. But you shouldn't fear an inanimate object that requires a human person to pull a trigger. We have to do our part to stop gun violence, said Priscilla Sims Brown, CEO of Amalgamated Bank, which petitioned for the change in a statement. I don't think you have to. I honestly think you don't have to. I think sporting an outdoor code should stick, but it's not up to me. Unfortunately, the gun grabbers won. And they did it without Congress. They did it without the president. They did it without a registration, not registration, but they did it without the form of government. They use pensions that are heavily invested in credit card companies. And they use that as a tool to get these credit card companies to change. This is why if you're a business owner, you should never go public. You should keep your company private. because they could use this against you. And I think this is a step in the wrong direction. This is where they're going to be tracking your every movement. Sends us on a very dangerous path to gun registration without gun registration. Because I purchased my ammo online. Now that's going to be tracked. Now it's pretty obvious with the receipt that I'm purchasing ammo because it's an ammo store specifically for online. I think they do have a couple local shops in the area where they're at, but it's pretty obvious what I'm using that for. So I'm not really too concerned about that, but if I go to Academy, if I go to a gun store, that type of information is going to be tracked now because of this code. And what if I want to stock up? What if I buy 1,000 rounds? Is that going to be excessive? Is that going to trigger suspicion? Because 1,000 rounds is not really a whole lot. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not really a whole lot. Because what if I want to go shooting for a couple of weeks straight? 1,000 rounds is not going to be enough. Well, if I'm breaking into a new gun, trying to know what the limits are, I might need 500 rounds or 600 rounds. So I want to know what a suspicious amount is. With that being said, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are, or wish me luck on my fight against the United Front of Fleas while I'm being eaten up alive and doing this video. Leave a comment down below, smash the like and subscribe button on any all platforms, or just the platform that you're currently watching. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.